My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content. Hey folks, welcome back. Today we're having a conversation with Brooke Williams, who is a real estate investor based in good old Philadelphia. And Brooke has gone from single family homes and small multifamilies like duplexes, and she's getting into the world of multifamily investing. And she's going to share with us what some of her lessons have been along the way. So looking forward to this conversation. Welcome to the show, Brooke.
Thanks so much, Dave.
So give us a big picture snapshot of what you and your real estate investing business look like right now as of mid 2024.
So I have mostly, as you mentioned, duplexes and single families in Philadelphia and one outlier in Atlantic City. It has a mixture of long-term rentals as well as one short-term rental and one medium-term rental. So I've had a little bit of dabbling across, the furnished rentals and just long-term, and I can share more about that as well with your team, folks here. And yeah, I have 5 properties right now and looking to continue to grow that.
Very, very cool. All right. So you're going from single families and small multifamilies, duplex type properties. Why have you decided to switch focus and start getting into multifamilies? What is it that appeals to you about multiple units in one building?
It seems like a lot of the same amount of energy for really a bigger production of finances at the long run, right? So a
Yeah.
bigger bang for your buck. There's a lot of rewards that come with, scaling up and doing something at a larger scale, and using what I've learned from residential and translating that into then the commercial multifamily. I think there's a lot that translates there well as a lot that I've got to learn.
Yeah, for sure. So there's all sorts of different kinds of commercial multifamily properties that somebody can be looking at. As you're getting into this, what do you think you're going to be focusing on primarily? What size of properties to get started with?
Yeah, I think I'll be looking somewhere in the 10 to 20 unit range to get
Mhm.
started and, looking to JV with somebody else in that space and go at it as a joint venture and start there and then, work my way up.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. So what kind of markets are you going to be focusing on? You're sounds like primarily right now you're in Philadelphia. You've got the one outlier. When it comes to these kind of properties, 10 to 20 units, what have you found in your research is the kind of market that you're looking for?
That's a good question. It's something that I'm still actively trying to navigate. I've looked at a
Yeah.
few different markets, looking mostly at secondary, cities, as opposed to going into something like Philadelphia, where it's going to be more capital initially needed to get into the deal. So looking
Mhm.
somewhere where I can get in with a little less capital, and still, get the results that I want in scaling up into a larger multifamily, but still looking for things that have, good population growth, good job growth, steady rent increases, things like that. So I'm still trying to navigate which area I want to go into, but I'm looking for something in the drivable distance outside of Philadelphia. So I'm able to really get there and, really be more hands-on with my first project.
No, that makes a lot of sense. So are you currently self-managing most of your properties, or do you have outside management for them?
I am, yes. I manage all of my properties. I
Cool.
did try a management company for my short-term rental. I didn't have a good experience, so I took it
Mhm.
back over. And, it's something that I do want to explore again. I know that's going to be something I need in the future. So I'm open to it, but as of now, doing my own property management.
So Brooke, good old rich dad, poor dad, Robert Kiyosaki talks about your unfair advantage. And that is, what is it, especially when it comes to real estate investing, that comes easy or at least easier to you than to other people that can be seen as kind of your unfair advantage? So just to give you an example, I always say that my unfair advantage is the fact that I'm so damn good looking, funny, and modest all at the same time. But others might disagree. What but in all seriousness, what do you think is kind of your unfair advantage or what comes easy to you from your experience in real estate investing?
So I think that I am more risk adverse than some folks. So I am more willing to put myself into maybe a riskier, situation, going after bigger adventures. That's always been appealing to me. So I know that a lot of what holds people back from getting into real estate is fear.
Mm.
And so I think I have an unfair advantage that I really tend to lean into those fears and go after them more than some other folks might.
So you don't scare easy.
Right.
That's good. Well, that's good. All right, fantastic. So we were talking a little bit off camera before we started the interview that I think, like myself, when you got started, you were kind of the lone ranger, like you're the lone wolf doing your own thing, self-financing everything, that kind of stuff. Then you realize that sooner or later you run out of cash and or credit to buy more properties, and you need to, or it's helpful to have a network to lean into. So talk to us a little bit about investing without a network, and then the importance of building one up, and what you're doing or what you've done to do that.
Sure. Well, I think the biggest lesson learned in not having a network when I started was you learn all the hard lessons
Hmm.
the hard way, right? So, I wasn't really surrounded by anyone else investing in real estate. I don't have a family that invests in real estate. This was something that I just did completely on my own. My family was like, "You're doing what? What are you doing?" So I really
So,
didn't
so what
have,
so what kind of sparked that? Sorry to get off
oh,
track, but
yeah.
I'm just curious. What sparked the interest in you initially?
Well, it's funny you mentioned Rich Dad Poor Dad. So I read
Yeah,
that book
yeah,
and I said, "Oh, well it
that
just really
sparked
was
it.
a mindset
Yeah.
shift." I mean, like a lot of real estate investors, that's kind of their first dabble in. So it was really that changed my mindset and I started saying, "Okay, I never really understood, stocks and how to follow stocks and do that kind of investing, but real estate, that feels tangible. That feels like something I can get my hands around and understand better." And look to like my retirement funds and things and building wealth for myself. So that's really what got me interested in it in the first place.
All right. So then you jumped in, you did your first couple of deals on your own, and then you realized, hey, I don't know anybody else really doing this. So then what did you do to start to develop that network, Brooke?
So I started looking into local meetup groups,
Mm.
following different folks on Instagram and finding out what groups they were being part of. And I actually got in touch with someone in Philadelphia that was looking for someone to help him with his company. And I thought, oh, that's kind of interesting. Let me follow that. And then he already had a huge network. So I got, looped into that big network. So
Nice.
just through a lot of different means, I also went to some conferences, so I really, it had to be a focus though. I had to make a decision. I said, you know what? I've been doing this all by myself and I can't sustain it and it's not scalable and I'm tired. So
Mm.
I need to really be proactive. And I really had to make that an intentional effort to find these things, find those people and reach out.
And what's happened since you started doing that? How has that affected your real estate investing business?
Mhm.
What difference has it made for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is it's just expanded once again my mindset around real estate, which is why now I'm thinking, oh, what about, let's get into commercial, right?
Mm.
I've done the residential thing and maybe I can scale up that space because I'm surrounding myself with people who are doing just that and seeing their success and seeing where they came from. I said, well, hey, they did it. Why can't I do it? Right. So I think it really does help you see what the possibilities are that just average Joes like us are doing the thing.
Yeah,
And so we can follow in those footsteps and do the same things.
very, very cool. So, Brooke, what do you got in the pipeline? What are your plans for the next, let's say, 12 to 24 months? I know you're starting to focus a lot more on the multifamily space. Where do you see yourself going with this over the next year or two?
Absolutely. So I actually invested in a mentor for commercial real estate. So I'm under the guidance of my mentor, really learning the ins and outs of the different aspects of it. And you don't know what you don't know, right?
Yeah.
So learning it from someone who's already been through it all. And then I'm also researching what type of market I want to get into. So further narrowing that down so that I can really hone in on where I want to invest. And then really I'm going to be looking for deals and also looking for someone to JV with. So I am looking for a partner. So again, going back to my network, I've been really trying to re-engage with different folks to see who might be a good fit for me, who has skill sets that I don't have that would be helpful in the next step in my venture here. So hopefully in 12 months, I'll be close on my first, commercial multifamily.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you will be if you're this focused on it. That's for sure. Um, yeah, one of the recommendations I always have for people moving into multifamily is to do exactly that. Find somebody. Well, you've got your mentor, uh, but if you can also find perhaps somebody like that in the market that you decide you want to invest in, let's say it's Philadelphia or whatever, and then offer to work for free for that person in
Mhm.
exchange for a little slice of equity in a deal. So, whatever that looks like, that could be pounding the pavement, looking for off market deals, the kind of properties that person's doing the research around that. It could be property management, it could be whatever, right? But partnering up with somebody that's already done that, maybe bringing a little bit of your own capital into a deal with them, but you're not looking for a major portion of that particular deal. But even if you get, let's say, 5% of a deal, that's proof of concept. That's a project that you're involved in. That's a project that you've got skin in the game on. And then you can use that as a case study to attract other joint venture partners and eventually investors and LPs and that sort of thing as you go down the line. So there's something else you might consider.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Thank
Well,
you.
that's exciting stuff, Brooke. So, um, just out of curiosity, because I'm an old fart that's not up to speed on Instagram, but when you were initially kind of looking at people and looking at different groups, I mean, I personally am quite familiar with Facebook and LinkedIn and some of these older people platforms, I guess. What do you find on Instagram that helps you in the real estate education side of things?
I think you have to be careful on Instagram. There's a lot of folks out there that will tout these big accomplishments that are overinflated. So I think you do have to be very careful and you kind of start to weed through them. You start to see a little bit of those signs through their page and their stories and things like that. But
Like Lamborghinis and private jets and all this kind of
right.
stuff? Or yeah, okay.
And it's much easier to catch those things when you've done a deal yourself because you think, something's not lining up with what they're saying they invested and what they got out of it,
Yeah.
So anyway, so you have to be careful, but I do just kind of follow the line. I see who's commenting, who's liking, and then I kind of see the page and see what they're up to, and then just try to find folks that are doing what I want to do,
Mhm.
and maybe reaching out to them even and trying to start up some initial relationships and asking questions. And people are usually pretty open, to talk to you through Instagram.
That's cool.
Mhm.
Do you find live interactions with people at events more effective, or is the Instagram thing really effective for you as well?
I think live events are
Yeah,
definitely top notch. I don't think you can beat that for sure.
it's difficult.
Yeah, you build another level of relationship with folks when you meet them in person like that. I think Instagram is a way to get a foot in the door sometimes and start conversations, but you probably then will try to meet up with that person at an event of some sort, and that's going to really lock in the relationship.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, hey, Brooke, this has been great. If people would like to connect with you and find out and keep in touch and see what you're up to, especially in the multifamily space, what should they do?
You can reach out to me on Instagram as well. So I'm at Brooke Invests, and it's Brooke, Brooke Invests.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you, Dave. Thanks for having me. It was so great to be here.
All right, everybody, take care, and we will see you on the next episode. Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now, at moneypartnerformula.com, we help real estate investors to create a process for predictably getting capital so they can do more deals without relying on hard money lenders or the banks. We do this by building them a private capital marketing system. Now, if you want help turning yourself into a big money capital attraction machine, then book a call with our team to see how we can help. Just visit moneypartnerformula.com to find out more. All right, take care, and we'll see you on the next interview.